We're going to work cashmere stitch next, and this is a diagonal stitch, and it's going to take up a sort of rectangular shape here, so don't go too far over with your knot. And we're starting in this top left hand corner, and I'm going to take a stitch, a diagonal stitch there. Now be careful that you leave one whole gap. And now I keep saying this, but don't count this row because you've got a stitch going into that, and you've also got a stitch going in here, so that needs to be the row that your stitch goes to, if you see what I mean. So we're doing a stitch and then go down a hole and go over 2 threads now diagonally. And in the needle I've got a dark green and 3 yellows, 3 strands of DMC yellow, and then another one that goes over 2 threads only, and then a final one that starts just to the right and just goes over 1. So you're doing little rectangular shapes. Now we're going to go the other way. So a diagonal stitch at the bottom there, go up 1, and then you're going down into the corner edge there. Another over 2, and then the final one in the corner. Like that. And then we'll do another one. You can do this stitch so that it sort of worked diagonally, but I find it a bit more difficult, so we're doing it this way. So I've got the dark green and 3 strands of yellow in my needle, and we're gradually going to shade this. I'm going to keep with the dark green, but just keep changing the stranded cotton. So we'll see what that looks like. When you get to about there, you can start on the next row. And I'm going to change shade when I finish this thread. I've changed threads very slightly. I've swapped one yellow for one pale green, and when I finish this thread I'm going to swap two of the yellows for two pale greens, and then I'm going to do three pale greens and then swap one of the greens for a pale yellow, and then two of the greens for two pale yellows, and so on. So I'm only swapping one strand of the silk each time, so it's going to be quite subtle. Previously we've swapped two or three, but we're going to swap just the one, and I'm sticking with the dark green. So I'm going to continue down the shape in that way until I get to about here. I'll probably finish on a block, so we'll see how we do, and I'll return when I get down here somewhere. I'm just working my last couple of stitches, and I hope you can see how this demonstrates a sort of gradual shading. So I started with the dark green and three strands of yellow, and I've ended up with the dark green and three strands of the pale, very pale yellow, having just changed one strand each time. So in the middle here there were three strands of the pale green with the crewel wool, and I've kept the crewel wool the same all the way along. And we're going to do an Italian two-sided cross stitch next, and that's going to go here.